What's up, nail friends? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to hand paint Mimic My Little Pony. And what I was inspired by was this really rare Mimic Generation 1 My Little Pony that my husband has because he has a huge toy collection. So I thought I would recreate that in the more new style of My Little Pony. So let's get started. To start this design, you're just going to need a finished filed nail and a pencil. So you can really just use any pencil. It doesn't have to be this one, it doesn't have to be this brand, but make sure you also have a eraser. So to start this design, I found a picture I wanted to kind of use for my inspiration on Google, and this is the one I picked. So I start by drawing the horn. So I want the majority of my pony to be the horn and the eye, and I wanted to make sure to get a little bit of the body, a little bit of the hair in there. So that's basically where my main focus is. This is the most important part to the whole design because I find personally when I'm drawing hand-painted designs, I need something penciled down first to make sure that I get everything perfect, or I just get frustrated. So this is just the technique I prefer to use. Before adding any tiny details, I like to take a look at my design and then look at the picture and fix anything that really is gonna put the whole thing off. So I made sure the ear was the right size and the back of the head was the right size. For me, I always find eyes the trickiest part, so I spend a lot of time really focusing on trying to make sure I get it quite right. My Little Pony, though, is quite easy, so what you really need to do is kind of a rounded out triangle. Then I add in its little eyelashes, and then I go for the circle. So I just try to make sure that the circles in the eyeball in my rounded out triangle eye matches the same as the picture. Then I just add a little bit of extra details and make sure everything looks good before moving on to the next step. So what you're going to need for step 2 is something to put your gel polish on as a palette. So here I'm just using a white tile. You can really just use anything. It doesn't have to be a white tile. And I'm using little detail brushes. So I have Egoista's detail brush and Ugly Duckling's detailer. So I'm going to be starting with the dark green outline, but I don't have an exact match, so I'm going to be using these two colors from Jellyfit Australia, and I'm going to mix them on my paint palette. So I decided when mixing these colors that it wasn't quite exactly what I wanted, so I had to add some yellow. I added way too much gel polish than I needed, but that's what happens sometimes when you mix your own colors. So make sure if you're just using it for the outline, add a little bit less than what I just did. So I started out using the Ugly Duckling detailer to do the lines, and I realized that it was a little bit too small for what I wanted, so that's when I switched to my Egoista detail brush. I love this detail brush because it's very thin at the tip where I'm painting, but the end of it is thick, and it just holds together so nicely. No fraying pieces, no cutting to get it to work. It's great just as it is. For the hair outline, I thought this Jellyfit Australia red would be perfect. I'm dipping my brush in it and saturating the whole brush while wiping most of the gel off. I only want very minimal gel on my brush for the outline. For all hand painting, my favorite of all time black is this Magic Gel's Universal Black. It's the perfect consistency for hand painting lines. I mixed these two pastel colors together to make the body color. For this, I switched to my Light Elegant swirly brush, and I start by going along my outline and then painting it on to fill it in. This can be a really thin layer and doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to just repeat the process all over again. And don't worry too much about going over top of your outline because you're just going to be redoing that as the last step. For the hair, I'm mixing these two yellows together to try to create the yellow that kind of matches the best. This is the baby pink I'm using for the hair, but I'm mixing in some of the pink that I used for the outline in with it just to make it a little bit darker. I'm mixing these two greens for the small green piece of hair and for the gem color in the eye. I'm using Magic Gel's Universal White for the eyes. Fill everything back in. So this is a layer you can do a little bit thicker, and you don't really have to worry about it moving around too much because Jellyfoot Australia is the perfect paint consistency to do hand painting art. Another reason I love to use gel polish for hand painting is because it's kind of like putting down a slip layer and then going over your slip layer again. It's not going to spread and go where it's not supposed to go because gel is attracted to gel. For the second coat, to get really close into those small spaces, I've switched back over to my Ugly Duckling detailer brush, and that's what I'm using to pull the already put on gel into those tight spaces. There's a little bit of shadowing on the design, so I've mixed some gray in with each color and created a shadow. There's also a glare on the hair, so I've mixed kind of a off-white creamy color with some clear, and then I just went over where it was on the picture on the design. And the last step is to go right back over that outline that we did at the very beginning all over the whole design, and that'll really just make your design pop. I love to do a matte nail whenever I do hand painted design, so I'm using Ugly Duckling matte top coat. This is the best matte top coat I've ever used. It goes nice and chalky and super matte for a long time. I give that a full cure, and then here I'm just wiping off any tacky layer that's left behind, and here is the finished design. So I hope you guys liked this video, and I hope it helped someone with hand painting. And if there's anything specific you guys like to see, please let me know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, keep your nails long, and your glitter strong.